Hey everyone, it's Indigo Eyes here, and welcome to Mandala Mondays. I bring to you another law of karma today, which is law of humility, and that's the mandala I just got done drawing. Confucius said, "He who speaks without modesty will find it difficult to make his words good." What is he saying here? He's talking about humility. Being humble does not mean you are a timid individual or that you lack confidence. So, what is humility? It is having true knowledge of yourself as you are, that is, accepting both your weaknesses and strengths, to admit what you don't know and realizing you may not have all the answers. And honestly, no, none of us have all the answers, right? So take responsibility for your own actions, and above all, do not blame others. There are three elements of true humility. Number one, to recognize its gifts. Second, recognize the source of those gifts. And third is to draw the attention to the giver of the gift. So there are three elements of true humility. Number one, recognize its gifts. Second, recognize the source of its gift. And third, use the gifts to draw attention to the giver of the gift. Okay. You will agree that it is a good quality and an essential characteristic to have. It encompasses modesty and respectfulness. So, humility is a virtue being connected to transcendent unity with the divine and the universe without an ego. And therefore, humility leads to strength but not weakness. It is the highest form of self respect for a person to be able to admit to making a mistake and then to go on and make amends for that mistake. So, in short, there are four components of humility, that is, low self focus and more focus on the others, accurate self awareness, appreciation of others, and openness to feedback. So the law of humility is based on the principle that you must be humble enough to accept that your current reality is the result of your past actions. And acceptance of reality is required in order to bring change in it. One must accept something in order to change it. If all one sees is an enemy or a negative character trait, then they are not and cannot be focused on a higher level of existence. So, humility is the modest and well balanced view of oneself versus an unhealthy delusional sense of self importance. And in most of the cases, the latter is true. So the law of humility states that we must accept what is. It's futile to fight against the things you have no control over. They simply are what they are, and they must be accepted with grace and humility. Let go of the expectation how you think that the things should be. For example, let's say you are stuck in traffic and you are late for work. You might get angry and frustrated, or you can accept that having negative emotion is not going to change the fact that you're still stuck in the traffic. In fact, getting stressed and wound up is going to have a negative impact on your well being, and you'll still be stuck in the traffic. So, most of us would say acceptance is an easy one. So, whenever I talk to people, they always say it's an easy one. But if you think about it, acceptance is the most elusive thing. We sometimes don't recognize our own resistance to what is, or we are unaware what we need to accept something because it's not obvious. The example I will take is that you can float down the river of life. We can call the life as this river. And so we are all going with the life, right? So floating through the life. So you can either float like a stick, bashing into rocks along the way, having them splinter you, wear you down, or maybe get caught under a rock and forever feel like you are drowning. Or the better yet would be you can float down the river as a leaf, zipping around the rocks until you reach the shore. What it means is that going with the flow, not against it. So in both cases, it is inevitable that you are in the river, right? So we cannot get out of it. So this is the situation. You are in the river, and river is life, and the point is that you can choose your stance in the float. So the idea of humility isn't that you look at yourself as lower or not as good as someone else or others, but it means that you can value the others more than yourself. It's putting aside, basically, it's putting aside the ego self and looking at things with a naive intention of awe or as a childlike innocence. So the judgments, labeling, and criticism of everything are eradicated and replaced with understanding and acceptance. As I just said, in order to change something, we have to accept it first. As I just said, in order to change something, we have to accept it first. Accept ourselves in order to grow. Accept our circumstances and move forward from there to make a change. Accept our situation in order to really see it and then be able to change it. So accept our decision making in order to change it. So it's all the accepting examples that I'm trying to give, that we can accept. We are all just trying to figure out our life. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. So what happens when we accept in an ego free manner? The life's problems disappear, and they are just the situations now, and you can choose how to deal with that situation. And if you don't like one solution, then we can always try the other one, but there are no problems in life. So consider or think about, where are you resisting something, and try to accept it, meaning relax and just, it is what it is. Okay. So, and watch things change. So I was once talking to a Buddhist monk, and he made this excellent point. This is what he said. He said, "Suffering is resisting what is." So think about it. So the law of humility also says whatever you resist will persist in your life. Resistance does nothing more than feed energy into things that you don't really want. So instead of activity, sometimes you need a period of inactivity. When you allow the light to shine in, then and only then will clarity come. We all of us are really, how do I say, we are prone to just acting or action, and then if we haven't done it, we feel that we have done nothing. But that is the wrong way to go. So to gain clarity, or to think about what are we resisting, sometimes we need a period of inaction. So if you do not desire something in life, or you want something to go away from your life, it's important to slow down and ignore it. Only then you will be effective in clearing out what you don't want in life, because you're not putting energy into something you don't want, that is, you're not resisting, and then that situation will just fade away and the life continues with ease. And you can learn an awful lot about a person who is inside of themselves, or uh, they have made a friendship with oneself by watching them. So by watching what leads to living a life of truth makes an enormous amount of temperance and a good dose of humility. If you want to grow to the biggest heights or the largest heights, you must be willing and prepared to let go, to be thankful for and celebrate life itself. M- Meaning, and this can happen if you can live in the present moment, because life is now. It wasn't yesterday, and it never, the future is, we don't know. So, this is what it is, and you will find this to make your life very easy as well. So when you erase force from your spirit, inner power and morality will shine through, enough for everyone to see it. To be really great is to have the will to stop forward movement when you really need to. True greatness is in having the ability to stop and allow the insight come through and guide you to the right balance. There can be no greatness without rightness. So when you tap into gentle movement, even in the middle of a great force of power, harmony and peace will flow. without being disturbed, but will continue to build in small amounts. And one of the best examples of humility that I found is in I Ching. It's a great Chinese oracle system, and I'm sure you're familiar with it, or maybe used it or not. But one of the best examples of humility that I found is in I Ching. It's the great Chinese oracle system. So, even though you may have an overflow of inner force, the best way to unlock that force, the power within you, is to reflect your earthly experience every day and meditate on living a truthful life. So, for example, and I was going to talk about the 34th hexagram of I Ching. So that really demonstrates the humility, meaning this 34th hexagram of I Ching points at a time when your inner worth builds with an immense force and comes into its own power. And so the message from this hexagram is, let your vision and higher purpose be your compass. So this is where the addition of perseverance further comes in. Perseverance is the greatest of all powers, a power that will not degenerate into nothing more than a force, a power that remains united inside you with all the principles of justice, of what is right. When you fully understand that injustice and greatness have to be united indissolubly, you will understand the principle of humility, the true meaning or everything that happens here on earth. So let me ask you this: have you ever been wronged? And you'll be like, yes, we all have, right? So the important thing is to move on and let go. Easier said than done, right? But the law of humility dictates that you let go of what was, accept what is, and makes plans for what will be. Everyone has incidences in their past that bring about negative emotions, right? So maybe it's a relationship that ended poorly, or it was a financial situation that didn't work out very well. So the best advice I can offer based on the law of humility is to let go of any negative emotions. How can you do that? The answer is by forgiveness. And by saying that forgive the other person, I don't mean become best friends with them or start meeting them every day, or you have to go and ask for forgiveness or tell them that you forgive them. It only means that you let go of the incidents or the person who wronged you in your own heart. And this, you're doing it for yourself, meaning you will be at a much better frame of mind if you're able to forgive. And one of the exercises to achieve this, I learned from Jainism, and I do that every day and had great results from it. So, Jainism, it's not a religion, it's a way of life. This is how they say it. And they state that our sentiments should always be towards forgiveness. Like you live your life every moment in a forgiveness mode. And I'll post a link here of that exercise, and you can try it. And you'll find that if you do that exercise every day, within a month or even before that, you will have peace in your heart and you will be absolutely unaffected from that person or the situation. And even at the mention or at their mention or anything, you will be indifferent to that situation. So, this is forgiveness, bringing happiness and peace in your heart and mind and soul. So, again, to reiterate, accept what is. It's a lot easier to understand that we don't control everything that goes on in the world. If you just focus on what you can control, it's easier to be humble rather than trying to control which we have no control over. So, when it comes to the future, all you can do is accept and plan for what will be. But when we reach that future, and if it's not what you planned, then accept it graciously. So, this is the part where we have so much more control because we can then take many steps necessary to achieve our goals. So, always remember the law of humility, and this will make your life very easy. Focus on what you can control, and you will be fine. Make sure to be at peace with yourself and with the world. Using this law in everyday life, as I've said in the past, also, the whole idea of knowing or learning these laws of karma are or broadening our perspective is to apply that knowledge in everyday life to make it better, satisfied, happy, or maybe charmed. So I can give a few examples or applications of this law in our everyday life. Because what's the point of any knowledge that is only for the books if we cannot relate to our everyday experience or use it, So, number one, the power of humility can be used in the workplace where two or more people have polarized against each other to the detriment of companies functioning, and is detrimental to your own peace of mind as well. So it can also be used to bring peace in conflicted families and other painful relationships. Secondly, for example, there an argument between the couples, and they would say, or you would say, all couples fight. But in a situation like this, you can either argue with each other at length, where you rotate the roles of being a victim and persecutor, or you can change your bickering into something better and become empowered. Then you will learn it's important not to focus on the anger, but to allow compassion in your heart. That will help you shift away from anger into something that would be so much better for everyone. So I have learned over the years that a great trait to have as a leader is humility. A leader, or a professor, or managing a lab and so forth, the it was a great trait to have humility. Or as a leader of employees, never assume that you are smarter than everyone. Be willing to admit when you're wrong, but you also should be strong enough to know when you are right. And so, like Nelson Mandela said, lead from the back and let others feel that they are in front of you. Talking about humility, I wanted to say that I offer effective ways of incorporating this law of humility for lessening and healing conflicted and painful relationships, the work problems with colleagues, or life in general, and help you achieving a lasting peace. Of course, we all hear about and read about the laws of karma, and you're even listening to me right now speak about the law of humility. But the question is, how can you live it? How can you bring this into your everyday life? So this is where I help everyone, or the people, one on one, in the private online sessions, and it has worked wonders for those people. So you can either join my mandala workshops or contact me, and we can devise ways exclusively to your needs and see what your mandala reveals for you. So that way you learn this exercise and then you do it for yourself whenever the need be. Having said that, I practice humility in my interactions with everyone, like my clients, my friends, even strangers, and most with strangers. So I'm humbled that they come to me to try to facilitate growth, and that I learn from everyone through their journey on its earth. My experience is incorporating law of humility in my life, and has been unbelievable. And some examples, if I give you, and believe it or not, that I have found that the things come into my life as there is a need. So somehow, for example, somehow either someone will show up to help, or some opportunity comes along, or even when I'm thinking I need something in my life, and then it just appears, meaning it just doesn't materialize in front of me, but it's just somehow it happens. And so now, because I trust this unseen power, I don't have to be worried, and I don't stress about things. This is called seeing the glass as half full instead of half empty. So, once again, like I always say, please don't believe me or trust me. Just find it for yourself, like a scientist. So, do the experiment. I give it to you today, an experiment. Take the humility challenge. Go to someone you know in a humble fashion and thank them for being part of your life. Or do some random act of kindness for someone this week. And it doesn't mean something big, it could be as little as smiling at someone, saying hello, or giving a compliment to someone. And then see the result, or let me know what the result was just doing this little deed. Okay, so this was all on law of humility. I hope you enjoyed my art, the information it revealed, and if it all resonated with you, you could give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. And considering the law of humility that I discussed, it would be great if you share with your friends because it would help everyone see the word humility or this law from a different perspective or a new perspective in contrast to what you have always heard in a recited in a parrot mode. So thanks for watching the video, and I will come next Monday with another law of karma. Bye for now, and thanks for watching.